It was almost 7 in the evening, the kind of hour when shadows start stretching like tired beasts, and the air smells of dust and fear. The small town looked peaceful from afar, but in reality, something dark was slowly crawling through its veins. People were locking their doors early that night, as if they knew something was about to happen. In one of those narrow alleys, an old blacksmith and his son were returning from work. The clang of iron still echoed faintly from the workshop behind them. The father's hands were rough and burnt from years of hammering metal, while the boy's eyes were full of restless curiosity. They didn't speak much. Only the sound of their footsteps and the distant barking of dogs filled the silence. The boy suddenly whispered, "Father, do you hear that?" But his father ignored him. He didn't want to believe that sound. The faint humming, almost like a woman singing far away. The kind of song that doesn't belong to this world. As they crossed the last turn before their home, the light from the street lamps began to flicker, one by one. A cold wind swept through the alley, carrying with it the smell of burning metal and something rotten. The boy looked up and saw for just a moment a shadow hanging at the end of the lane. Long hair drifting, a pale face, eyes black as smoke. When he blinked, she was gone. The father pushed the boy inside their house, bolted the door, and sat silently by the small fire. He knew who that figure was. Every craftsman in this town knew her story. A woman burned alive decades ago, blamed for witchcraft. Since then, on nights like this, when the sky turned gray and the wind smelled of iron, she was said to roam the streets, searching for warmth she never had in life. That night, sleep avoided their home. The boy kept staring at the window, expecting to see her again. But the only thing outside was darkness. And yet, somehow, he felt watched. At exactly midnight, the fire died without warning. The air turned so cold that their breath became mist. The father got up to relight the fire, but when he looked toward the forge in the corner, his hammer was missing. In its place lay something wet and red. He froze. The boy asked softly, "Father, what is that?" The man couldn't answer. His hands trembled as he picked up the thing. It was a half-burned heart, still beating faintly. Before he could drop it, the faint humming returned, closer now, right outside the wall. The boy clung to his father's arm. They could hear footsteps, slow and dragging, circling the house. The wooden walls creaked as if something pressed against them from outside. Then came the voice, soft, broken, and whispering from all directions. "Give it back." The father's knees weakened. He knew what she meant. Many years ago, before his son was even born, he had crafted the iron shackles that bound the accused witch during her execution. He had been paid in silver. He had told himself it was just work. But tonight, she had come for him. He grabbed his son's hand. "Don't look back," he whispered. They ran out through the back door into the night. The wind screamed like a living thing, and the streets twisted strangely, as if the town itself wanted to trap them. Behind them, the humming grew into a cry. The sound was neither human nor animal. It was something in between. The boy tripped, and when he looked up, he saw her again. This time she was standing in the middle of the road, her eyes glowing dimly, her skin cracked and smoking. She didn't walk, she floated closer, her face twisting with grief and fury. The boy's father stepped forward, holding a burning piece of wood. "Stay away," he shouted, though his voice was shaking. The witch smiled, a smile so wide it didn't belong on a human face. "Forged in fire, bound by blood," she whispered. And the fire in the father's hand went out, the torch went dark. The silence that followed was thicker than the night itself. The boy's breath trembled as he held onto his father's sleeve. The air had turned heavy, like something unseen was pressing down on their chests. The witch's shadow stretched across the cobblestones, reaching them even before her body did. Her feet hovered just above the ground, toes pointed downward, and every step she took made the air ripple like boiling water. The boy wanted to scream, but no sound came out. His father stood frozen, eyes locked on the spirit he once helped destroy. She spoke again, her voice echoing as though it came from a deep tunnel of time. "Your fire forged my pain, and your hands shaped my death." The father fell to his knees, his hammer hand trembling. The weight of guilt pressed harder than any metal he had ever lifted. He whispered, "I didn't know. I was only doing my work." But she only laughed. It was not the laugh of revenge. It was hollow, broken, like glass shattering in the wind. The flames of the street lamps burst one by one, surrounding them in a red glow. The boy clutched his father's shoulder, whispering for them to run, but there was nowhere left to go. The roads seemed to bend endlessly in circles, each turn leading back to her. The air itself had trapped them inside her curse. Suddenly, the witch extended her hand. From her palm dripped molten iron, hot, bright, and alive. It fell onto the ground and began to twist into shapes, chains, shackles, nails. Every tool the blacksmith had once used to bind her. They crawled toward him like living creatures, hissing, glowing, wrapping around his feet. The man screamed as the metal burned through his flesh, the sound echoing through the empty streets. The boy tried to pull him free, but the chains only tightened. The witch's hollow eyes turned toward the child. "You carry his blood," she whispered. "The fire will follow you too." The boy stumbled back, terrified. His father, half consumed by the glowing metal, shouted, "Run! Don't look behind you! Go!" The witch tilted her head, almost curious, as the boy ran. The streets blurred around him. Every door he passed slammed shut. Every shadow whispered his name. He could still hear his father's voice fading into the distance. Then, nothing. Only the hum remained, the same ghostly lullaby that had started it all. He ran until his legs gave out, collapsing near the edge of the forest. The night was colder there, but at least the air moved again. He looked back. Smoke was rising from the town. Somewhere deep inside those twisting streets, something was burning. Years later, no one spoke about that night. The blacksmith's house was found in ruins. The forge melted into the earth itself. The boy, he never returned. But some said a new blacksmith appeared years later in another town. A man who never worked after sunset, who never allowed fire near his shop, and who flinched at the sound of metal striking metal. They said sometimes, when he was alone, he would whisper apologies to the flames, and on certain nights, when the wind blew from the east and carried the scent of smoke, people could hear the faint sound of a woman humming near his workshop. The same lullaby, the same curse, and if anyone dared to walk too close to his door after dark, they claimed to see a faint handprint burned into the wood, long skeletal fingers reaching out, waiting for him to finish what began years ago, because some fires once lit never die. They only wait